When it comes to securing critical business data, having a robust backup strategy in place is non-negotiable. Azure Backup provides a highly reliable, scalable, and secure solution for protecting your data in the cloud. However, to ensure your backup strategy is optimized for both reliability and compliance, it's important to configure an Azure Backup policy. These policies define how and when backups are performed, as well as how long they are retained. In Azure, we can create two types of Azure Backup policies: Standard Backup Policy and Enhanced Backup Policy. The Standard Backup Policy provides flexibility and control over backup frequency, retention, and storage. This policy is more suitable for general backup needs. This is the most commonly used backup policy for a broad range of workloads such as file shares, virtual machines, and SQL databases. I have already created a video on how to create and use the standard Azure Backup policy to back up an Azure VM. The link to that video is provided in the description. The Enhanced Backup policy, as the name suggests, offers advanced capabilities compared to the standard policy. This policy is designed for workloads requiring more specific backup requirements. This policy is recommended for businesses that have higher availability requirements and need to ensure their data is consistently protected. This is the sixth part of the mini video series on Azure Backup. In this video, we will walk through the process of creating an enhanced backup policy in Azure, exploring the key features that can help you protect your data better. Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing well. I'm Manhar and welcome back to MSFT WebCast. An enhanced backup policy in Azure refers to a backup configuration that takes advantage of advanced settings and features available in Azure Backup, such as backup frequency and retention management for longer retention periods, backup scheduling for better control over when backups occur, backup encryption for data security, automated monitoring and alerts for proactive management, compliance policies that ensure your backup strategy aligns with industry regulations. An enhanced backup policy is typically designed for businesses with strict data protection needs or those who need to comply with regulatory requirements. First, we need to log into the Azure portal. Open your preferred web browser, navigate to portal.azure.com and sign in with your Azure account. In the search bar at the top of the portal, type Recovery. Under Services, select Recovery Services Vault. Before configuring your backup policy, you must create a Recovery Services Vault, which is the central component for storing your backup data. If you already have a Recovery Services Vault, select it. If not, click Create, then choose Recovery Services Vault and follow the prompts to create one. Ensure that you select the appropriate region for your backup data. In this video series, we have already learned how to create and manage a Recovery Services Vault in Azure. For this demo, I have created a Recovery Services Vault named TestAZ-RSV01. Click on Recovery Services Vault name. Step 1. Create a custom enhanced backup policy. Expand the Manage section and then select Backup Policies. Here you will see a list of existing backup policies and the option to create a new one. Click on Add to start creating a new backup policy. You'll need to choose the Azure resource type you want to create the new backup policy for. We will choose Azure Virtual Machine since we want to create a backup policy to backup an Azure VM. Click on Azure Virtual Machine link to continue. You'll be asked to choose between the standard or enhanced backup policy subtype. You can see a brief comparison and feature list supported by each backup policy. With the enhanced backup policy, you can schedule backups as frequently as every 4 hours for Azure VMs. Some key features of the enhanced backup policy include support for new Azure offerings such as Trusted Launch VMs, Premium SSD V2, Ultra SSD Disk, and Multi-Disk Crash Consistent Snapshot support. It also supports longer retention in the snapshot tier up to 30 days. Please note that once you enable a VM backup with enhanced policy, you cannot change the policy type to standard. Select the appropriate one based on your backup requirements. For this demo, we will select the Enhanced Backup Policy subtype. Enter the name for the backup policy. In this example, we will use the name Test Enhanced Backup Policy. Step 2. Define the backup schedule and frequency. With backup frequency, you can set how often the backup should run, such as hourly, daily, or weekly. With the backup schedule set to hourly, the default selection for the start time is 8 a.m. The schedule is every 4 hours and the duration is 24 hours. Hourly backup has a minimum recovery point objective of 4 hours and a maximum of 24 hours. You can set backup schedule to 4, 6, 8 or 12 hours respectively. For hourly backups, the last backup of the day is transferred to a vault. If backup fails, the first backup of the next day is transferred to a vault. Set up the backup schedule and frequency based on your Azure resource type and your organization's requirements. For example, schedule daily backups to a start at 2 a.m. to avoid performance hits during the working hours. Select the time zone based on your local region. Enter the number of days you want to keep the instant recovery snapshot. By default, the enhanced policy keeps snapshot locally for 7 days, which helps speed up backups and restores. You can adjust this retention period to anywhere between 1 and 30 days for enhance. Set the value based on your backup requirements. Options for retention range are auto-selected based on the backup frequency you choose. The default retention for daily, weekly, monthly and yearly backup points are set to 180 days, 12 weeks, 60 months and 10 years respectively. You can customize these values as required. For short-term retention, specify how many days you want to retain your backups. For example, 30 days for daily backups. For long-term retention, configure monthly backups and specify how long you want to retain them. For example, retain monthly backups for 5 years. Always consider your compliance and regulatory requirements when setting retention periods. To enable tiering, you'll need to select either a monthly or yearly backup retention point. A crash consistent snapshot is an option that takes crash consistent backups when the VM is not running during the backup or when application or file consistent backups fail. Select the checkbox if you want to take only crash consistent snapshot with this backup policy. Azure Backup Service creates a separate resource group to store the instant recovery point or managed VM. You can customize the name according to your requirement. This tab is optional. Once you are done, click Create to set up the custom enhanced backup policy. The deployment process will take a few seconds. Please wait for the process to complete. When the deployment is complete, select Go to Resource to proceed. Expand Manage, then click on Backup Policies. We have successfully created a custom enhanced backup policy for the Azure VM and it now appears in the list. To edit an existing backup policy, click the policy name. Modify the settings as needed and then click Update to save your changes. Wait for the confirmation notification to appear. The retention changes will be applicable to all existing and future recovery points. However, any new retention category added to the existing policy will be applicable only for future recovery points. Note that creating a backup policy is just a first step. You must link the policy to an Azure VM to perform automated backups using the policy. I have created a dedicated video on how to apply an Azure backup policy to an Azure VM. Let me walk you through the quick steps to link the policy to an Azure VM. Click on the policy name. At the top, click on Associated Items. Click on Add. Make sure Azure and Virtual Machine is selected. Click on Backup. Under Virtual Machines, click on Add button. Select the VM you want to backup using this policy. Click OK and let the validation check complete. Once the validation complete, the VM will be added. If the VM is not eligible, you will receive an error message. When ready, click on Enable Backup. This action deploys the policy to both the vault and the selected VMs. After you enable backup, Azure Backup installs the backup extension regardless of the VM's running state. The deployment has been successfully completed. Click on Go to Resource. Expand Manage and click on Backup Policies. Click on App Policy Name. Click on Associated Items. You can see the Azure VM AWS-VM01 listed under associated items. We can also see the backup policy name and policy subtype. Until the initial backup completes, last backup status shows as warning, initial backup pending. The initial backup will run according to the backup schedule defined in the backup policy. However, if needed, you can also run it immediately. That's all for this video on creating an enhanced backup policy in Azure. I have also covered the steps to apply an Azure backup policy to a VM for scheduling automated backups. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos on Microsoft Azure and other Microsoft related topics. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.